All right. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you all. I'm Raz. I'm hosting the Q&A today, and it's so nice to see you all here. And I can't wait for everybody to join in. I'm joined today by incredible guests. We will have amazing people from the Night Street Games team today, and I'm massively excited and honored to have them here. How is everybody doing today? I hope you're doing well. I'm already prepared. I have my flag here. Slowly waiting for everybody to join in here. We'll give everybody a few more minutes. Right, let's see. Mac found his way on here. Great. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Raz.
How you guys doing?
I'm great.
Doing great. I got to bring one more person on stage here. Where's Brian? I know he's in here, but this group is so big, it's hard to find people. And you can't raise your hand, right? That's not a thing. Brian, where are you?
There he is.
Oh, hello, Brian.
Hey, sorry about that. I accepted a thing and thought I'd get an invitation to the other one. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you again.
It's been a while.
It has
Great.
been.
I think we can start then. So we have everybody join in here. So, and I'm incredibly honored to have you guys on here back again. We are going to talk a little bit about Last Flag and how everything started, and a little bit about a few things about the game. And afterwards, we will have questions from the fans, from social media platforms, on Discord, and we'll have them answered. So I think let's start with a few introductions, I think. If everybody wants to say a few words about themselves, that'd be great, because some people might not know everyone on here on the panel. So I'd love to hear from you guys.
Well, I can introduce people here. Hi guys, Mac. Some of you know me as the manager for Imagine Dragons. I have with us here today Dan, of course, co-founder and lead singer from the band. We also have Matthew Berger, our game director, and Brian Thompson, our art director. And I think you guys should probably introduce yourselves first. They know me and Dan. We're old hat. But Matthew, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself and Brian before we kick in?
They know you, but you're the more interesting people. Hi, everybody. I'm Matthew. I'm the game director on Last Flag. I've been working in the games industry for 20, 25 years. I've worked at a variety of places. So for those who like games, I worked at Relic Entertainment, did a lot of RTSs, Company of Heroes, Dawn of War, Space Marine. And then I went to Blizzard, where I worked on a lot of Diablo games. Diablo on console, Diablo 3, Diablo 4, Diablo Immortal. So lots of Diablo and a few other things. So that's very quickly Matthew. Brian?
I can't tell if Brian is ponderous or he is frozen.
He's frozen.
Yeah, I hope everybody can hear me. My connection.
We got you now.
I think my connection. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my name's Brian Thompson, art director. I've been in the games industry for 20-something years and an art director for most of that time. I started as a concept artist and sort of worked my way to art direction from that point. I really hope you can hear me, because
we got you. Don't worry.
Things are a little chunky on my side. Okay. Yeah, and I've worked at places like I worked at Amazon Game Studios before now. I was at a place called Oh my gosh, I'm hold on a second. I was at a place called Surreal Software that was eventually bought by Warner Brothers. I worked in AAA games for a while, and I spent a lot of time also in casual games at Big Fish in Seattle. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here and talking with everybody.
By the way, I did a shameless plug. You guys are going to see that screen share probably this whole time. If you haven't already, QR code that baby and please follow us on Steam, wishlist the game, and hopefully jump in and play the game with us after this. But that'll be my first of many plugs, I'm guessing. So download demo now. Thank you, Nat. Back to Raz.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So maybe let's start with a little introduction to Last Flag because some people might have not heard about it yet. So I'd like to hear about what is the game, what's it about, and anything you want to share about it in a little few minutes.
Yeah, so Dan's going to tee up maybe and talk a little bit about the inspiration and the past and like why we're doing this, and then maybe I could tell us how to play, what the game is like. I'll just say before we dive in, and Dan's going to talk about this more. You know, it might seem out of left field, but we both grew up not just playing games. I grew up doing 3D modeling and animating some very embarrassing animations early on that we won't talk about today. But Dan has been coding for a long time, and this is just kind of a dream come true for us to finally be able to talk about this and let people play the game. So Dan, you want to jump in and walk through the history?
Yeah, well, first of all, hi everybody. It's good to see everybody here, and it's been a while since I've done anything like this, so it's nice to just see everybody. And I have my chat here, so it's nice to see all these little chats. It's been a long time. Hi. Missed you guys too. Yeah, I have been busy at work between working on an album and Last Flag over the last years, and I'm sure that some of you have probably followed me for a long time on my Instagram, and there was a period of time where I was posting little drawings on my Instagram of Last Flag like 5 years ago, probably. And it was just sketches of the different characters. And if you look back, you can see like the first iteration of what is now the lumberjack, and so you'll get to see a little bit of the birth of this. But yeah, many years ago, me and Mac always have played games together and dreamt about making a game, but we never had time to do it. Missed you guys on social media too. There'll be a day where I'll probably dive back in, but it's been a nice break. Anyway, I one day I called Mac and I was like, hey, I've been playing around with this idea in my head about a capture the flag game where you actually hide the flag, because in all kind of capture the flag modes on a lot of the games that we played growing up, like Team Fortress or Halo, or Overwatch, there's like a specific location where the flag always is, and then it's just there, and you go and you get it and you bring it back. But you never hid the flag. And growing up in like school, we would play capture the flag at recess or in PE, or in Boy Scouts. I did scouting growing up. We would do it in the forest, and you actually like had a flag, and you hid it, and it had to like peek out a little bit from the bush or the tree. And there was a real joy to like hiding it and then finding it and then like sneaking back to your base with it. And then if you get tagged, you like go to the jail. I don't know if you guys ever played that version where you like, the old school like capture the flag at recess, but that's kind of what the genesis of this was. And so I pitched it to Mac, and he liked the idea, and then we just started kind of brainstorming and coming up with characters, and we liked thinking about like what the setting would look like, what the characters' skills would be like, and then we argued over, should it be like a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter, or like a MOBA overhead view like League of Legends. And and then we started to just put together a team of people, and it's kind of become a family, a small like labor of love over the last 5 years, like an indie team that's just been building this, and now it's finally time to actually show you guys what we've been working on, which is really fun. Yeah, and it is inspired by Team Fortress, for sure. And yeah, I'm sure we'll speak more about like the other things that inspired it, but that's kind of the bare bones.
So I'll just tell you a little bit about how to play the game. We really kind of found out early on that the special sauce, if there is any, was really hide and seek. There's been a lot of shooter games. There hasn't been a lot of games that really, any games that we know of actually, where you can really set the battlefield however you want by hiding the flag anywhere you want. And that took us a little while to tame the chaos of that beast. It was a little, it was super fun, but also a little chaotic. And now the way the game plays today, it's pretty quick. It's a 10 to 15 minute game session, never longer than 20 minutes, right? At 15 minutes, the overtime rules kick in. And for the first minute, you hide your flag anywhere you want on your side of the map. And maybe it's like, somewhere that's very hard to find, but harder to defend, or somewhere easy to defend, but a little more obvious. And for the rest of the game, it's really just find the enemy team's flag, bring it to your base, and defend it for 1 minute to win. Now, you can be assisted in your journey by some radar towers that are across the middle of the map. And holding a radar tower helps you find the enemy flag by narrowing down the search area. So if I hold tower A, every 30 seconds or 20 seconds in section A, you see a red square appear randomly that's like, no flag here, no flag here, no flag here. It's almost like Battleship. You're eliminating search areas over time. Find the flag, bring it to your base, defend it for 1 minute to win it. And that's how you play. So with that, I thought it'd be more interesting to have really the professionals here talk about some of the game design, the contestant design, the art design. Feel free, Brian, anybody else wants to share a screen, show any sketches or anything else. But I'm going to be quiet here and turn it over to you guys.
While Brian is looking for cool art to show, I'm going to jump in very quickly. And one thing that maybe wasn't clear while Dan and Mac were talking is how involved Dan and Mac are in the game. Like, I think that's really important to kind of mention, right? It was their baby at the beginning. They worked on the initial prototypes, and they've been the through line since the beginning. And like, even on Saturday, Dan and Mac and I had a call, and we were talking about the game, and Dan was like, okay, well, here are some adjustments I think we should look at and whatnot, and so we had a powwow on that. So they've been really like elbow deep in this right from the very, very beginning. But I thought that we could talk a little bit about our heroes and specifically how we develop our heroes, which gives a good excuse for Brian to show really cool art. Brian, do you have some pretty pictures to show about the bounty hunter?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
So one of the questions we often
I'm
get
not allowed
asked.
to share screen though.
Well, while you figure that out with Rosora, I will continue talking. And one of the nice
There we
things
go.
we
Now
get
try
asked-
it. I just got rid of mine.
Excellent. One of the things we often get asked is
Okay.
how are we inspired to make our heroes, and how do we make them? And that is maybe one of the hardest questions to answer because it really depends a lot on the hero. We've done it in different ways, right? Some heroes we've approached it from the gameplay. Some heroes we've approached it from the visuals first. But Bounty Hunter is actually a hero who's been with us for a long time in different forms. He was actually part somewhat of our original prototype. So he's been with us for a long time.
Can I show this older?
Yeah.
the
Yeah. So
lineup?
so this is the very original lineup, and this is the original prototype, and you can actually see the art style was very different before Brian came and turned it into magic. This was sort of where we were, and for those of you with good eyesight, you can actually pick out some heroes that have made it all the way into the current version. So there's Scout, there's Lumberjack, there's Pyro, Bounty Hunter. They're all hiding there. And our commando is actually sort of represented in a couple of our heroes in the game.
Yeah, and I think when we decided that this was going to be like a televised show, and we really wanted to lean into making these larger than life characters. I mean, that was something that was sort of a through line in the whole production, I would say, from the very beginning, is that there was this opportunity in these characters, even from what they started with and how Mac and Dan talked about them and what they envisioned for them, to just go really big into silhouette and stylization to give our game like a really unique feeling and style from the character from the outset. So this deck that you're seeing me scroll through is kind of a larger deck of the visual design of Last Flag, and maybe someday we'll go through it all. But I kind of tried to isolate a few slides that were really important from the very beginning. The kind of art pillars that I think echo nicely the design pillars are the game. We really wanted the game to be stylized, so with a great iconic shape design, simple, bold, and distinct. Amplified, which is like over the top, larger than life action and impactful, and diverse, not just like the characters and where they come from, but again, how they act, how they move, their attacks, um, their background in general. And then we wanted the game to be like just a sensory kind of like extravaganza, just fun, super fun to play, super fun to watch. Um, and we've all seen this because we've been at events where we see players and we're watching over their shoulder, and it's just a colorful explosion of just fun and excitement. And I think this was something where, Matthew and I really were super eye to eye on this. I mean, I would say we're eye to eye on most things, but generally speaking, we were just like, yeah, we want it to just be over the top, and we want it to be amazing, something that you could see people, streaming and recording um, and sharing, something really shareable.
Brian, if I could, one
Some
thing I
initial
love
mood
that you
boards
guys.
kind of show. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
sorry.
sorry. There's such a delay between us. I'm so sorry. One thing I love that
Yeah.
you and Matthew have really kind of highlighted together is this principle that every time you hit your button, something exciting should happen. So if it's an ability, or even like taking the time to make each run different, and each turn different, and each slide different, and each jump different. I don't know if everybody recognizes that a lot of times that's not done because it's hard and it's taxing and whatever else. But you guys put so much love into that. And I think you feel it when you're using your ultimates, your abilities. You don't land it, it's still exciting. You do an execution move, it's still exciting. So anyway, I just wanted to give a kudos there, but please continue.
Yeah, that was something we really wanted to build a shared skeleton. So for people who have developed games, this is really an optimized and efficient way to approach your animation and your suite of animation in your game. Basically, you have a default skeleton, and you map all those joints and movements so that they can work across different sort of shapes and sizes. And that really helped us kind of get up and running. And then we decided that we really, really want each character to be totally, totally different. And this idea of like, efficient reuse became really much the foundation of our technical rigging pipeline, but then allowed us to differentiate each character in a big way. And we decided that that was really an investment we wanted to make, because when you're playing Julius the Bounty Hunter or Lumberjack or Scout, and you're seeing the back of that character in third person, I really wanted you to know that character was special, that character is one of a kind, and I wanted the players to really get attached to how those characters look and move. Um, so as we started kind of like figuring out what our version of the 70s was going to be, we looked for some really important iconic references for that. And again, these are just a little bit of a taste of like working through some of those. Let's see some of those references. Our focus on silhouette was very important, on how the characters look from a distance. This was something that I felt was a really big opportunity for us and kind of necessary in a third-person game. You can see some of the initial, again, references for who Julius Reeves could be. And I think this is a good spot, Matthew, if you want to jump in and talk about backstory development. And, in the very beginning, we were like, we've got this lineup of characters. What do we want to change? What do we want to keep? And if they're going to be these over the top characters, well, then they need these stories. And me as an artist, and I'm like driving the concept team, we feed off that stuff, right? So who is this character? What are their quirks? What's their style? So
Yeah.
you
So
want to talk about that?
yeah, absolutely. I'm also answering questions in the chat as I go. It's distracting me. So when we start working on the contestants, as I was saying earlier, like we have different approaches for each one, right? And Julius, we really had an idea that we wanted a character with a lot of swagger, a lot of coolness in him, and we wanted to find a backstory that wasn't just going to be something too tropey, something too much of a stereotype. So we were kind of looking for different avenues about who this character could be. And that takes a lot of iteration. We write like lots of little versions of the backstory, kind of send it back and forth. We do a similar thing with the ability kits. And we eventually kind of settled on this idea that he was a bounty hunter, right? So he was the guy who would go and catch, bad guys and bring them back to justice. And he was a writer. Like he wrote his adventures and, he made a lot of money that way. And he's, this really kind of cool, slick guy who's always, looking for ways to advance his own brand, but he can back the talk. Like he's really good. And so that kind of helped drive, who his personality was. And also then that kind of leached into, well, what are some of his finishing moves going to look like? How is he going to move? What are some of his abilities going to be? And so when we were looking at his abilities, we did try and look at ways to put the writer angle into the abilities. We never really ended there. We kind of focused more on other elements of his backstory and his personality. But we did try. I was actually looking at some of the kits that we had for him as we were trying to figure out how he played. And I was sort of amused that there was a lot of like writer stuff in there. And also there were quite a few abilities that we were thinking of early for Bounty Hunter that ended up in Roadie. There's at least 2, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
I
can
think
you
we're
see
gonna
the
have like
slide
a
that's up on my
yeah,
screen, Matt?
that's great. Continue, Brian.
Oh, sorry, Mac. This is a sheet that kind of shows, some of that working process. So we have, on one side, after kind of Matthew writes the bio and we kind of hammer on that and sort of polish it and hone it, then we'll start, doing character sketches of movements and some of those abilities. And you see on here, the different names for some of these things as we were thinking through ideas. Sometimes we'll do like a big brainstorm with the entire team. We'll get like a virtual whiteboard and we'll all just like put, crazy suggestions. This is a really fun process. I think we've done for almost every character that we've developed. But you can see that, he rides a motorcycle. We wanted to have some inspirations from the motorcycle feed into the design of the minigun. He's like this bounty hunter, so we really lean into like the cage, the jail that he captures people with. There's so much development that goes into each character and just working through the nuances. You always have to think about what the character looks like from the back. I mean, you're playing the character 95% of the time that way. And so the shape of them, how they move, how much you see of their weapons, how big of an impact they make, and how large their physical movement is. These are all things that you really got to keep in mind. I thought this was fun, Matthew. Do you remember like this is when we were trying like our first kind of real stylization pass? Um, he used to carry like a couple sticks of dynamite on his belt, and he was kind of more Western influenced from the original character. We kind of moved off of that into who he is now. And yeah, there's more I can talk about that. I know we had like time slots for each individual thing, but I'm trying to see if anybody has any questions.
I think there's tons of
There's all
questions.
kinds of questions.
Yeah, and my guess is that we can spend the whole time doing questions. How do you guys want to do this,
Yeah.
Raz? Do you want to feed up questions that you feel good about, or do you want us just to scroll through and we just hit them?
However you want. We do have preceded questions that came from social media and also from the Discord, but we can do a little mix. Like I can throw in some
Yeah.
questions, you can read some, and we could also open up the stage so people can join into the stage and ask questions themselves if you want.
Let's start with a few of the preceded ones, maybe. Like let's do 3, and then we'll do 3,
Yeah.
and we'll go back and forth. And
Yeah,
50
sure.
is not too old to play. Whoever Dragon 76, jump on in.
Okay, so we do have a question from Starfade Sparks on Instagram. Also, sorry if I butcher any names. I'm so sorry. Can we get a fun fact about each character?
Well, that's a big question.
That's too big.
my
That's
gosh.
too big of a
Or
question.
maybe
You
Why
don't
don't
want
we
to
pick
do a fun
three?
fact
Let's
question.
pick three characters.
Maybe one. Maybe
Yeah,
one. I could give one fun one. So, in one of the the early characters were actually all based on like friends and family, all of them. And the only one that really made the cut over time was the lumberjack, who's based on my best friend Brad Feinberg, who is this big Viking-looking guy. Maybe you've seen him on tour throughout the years. He was my trainer also. And so, and then that early lineup that you saw, that was like, it was like Mac is one of the characters. My brother Harry's one of the characters. So it was like all friends and family were characters. And then over time we were like, okay, that's a little much maybe. So we dialed that back, made it a little, yeah. I could literally take you through this entire lineup and tell you each one of them is based off a personal friend or family member. And because originally Mac and I were like, we're gonna make this all by ourselves with like 2 people. And then as we realized our capabilities, we realized we needed more professional help and a team to really realize it in a way that we wanted to. But yeah, that's maybe a note about the characters. They were all very personal to begin with, and they still have bits and pieces of that. But the lumberjack is really the one I think who made the cut, who still is very much based on my best buddy.
All right, let's fly through these. We'll see how many we get because there's gonna be so many. And Brian, if you want to undo your share, I'm gonna redo my very sly marketing share of the QR code while we talk. All right, Raz, fire it up.
So there's a question from Endercat on Discord. Will we have more kinds of cash bots, maybe even a cash boss?
That's a Matthew
Oh, I
question.
love that
right there.
idea. That's a great idea, catch boss.
We love
that.
the cash bots. We've often thought about having like a mecha big giant cash bot, like a kaiju cash bot and things like that. I think the answer is probably. We love them too much not to do more with them.
It should be like in Diablo, the little loot guy with the bag who like runs really fast and is like dropping
Trevor
coins,
Goblins?
and you're running after him, like shooting, and he drops more coins. You know what I'm talking about, Matthew?
Yeah. Trevor Goblins.
Also, there have been a ton of questions about the music of the game, since we didn't really touch into that yet. So a lot of people are interested in the soundtrack of the game, if we ever get a release of the soundtrack or anything that leans into that music
Dan, you should just
direction.
talk about the music. Why don't you tell a
Yeah.
little bit about that process is like and whatever else?
Yeah. By the way, I love that somebody said they feel bad when they heard the cash bots because the sounds they make are so cute. It's very
How to
true.
make you stay broke.
Yeah. Yeah, the music, I worked on all the music with some other really talented musicians. JT and Mac, remind me of everybody else.
JT Daly, Dave Lowmiller.
Dave Lowmiller, yeah. Really incredible musicians, and all of it is like hand built from the ground up, like all real instrumentation played in a studio. We really felt like a lot of games, the music is kind of an afterthought or kind of very electronic, and we felt like this game is specifically because it was set in the 70s. We wanted it to sound like the 70s on vintage microphones and to really carry that kind of old but funny sound from the 70s, like 70s disco that kind of makes you smile and laugh a little bit. And then also I really loved the game The Sims. I played The Sims growing up, and I loved how the characters in The Sims all like do fake talk, like like it's that you know what they're saying, but you don't. They're not real words, and so a lot of the singing that I did are like fake words. Like it's just, but you kind of know what I'm saying, and then there's some real words sprinkled in, like stolen flag, and then you're kind of like, never gonna let it go. Like a lot of it is just more sentiment than it is actual lyrics, and that was really inspired by The Sims. So that's a little bit about the music.
Yeah, one of people's favorite songs, at least my favorite song, is the "When You Lose" song called "Stolen Flag." I don't hear very often because you have to lose to hear it. So, naturally, I just heard about it from other people. But it's super, super hilarious. And, we really try not to take ourselves too seriously with the game. And that was part of the fun of it. It's like, we love like LucasArts and like Portal and games that like where you feel like you're in on the joke. And that's, I think you get a lot of that from the music. There's a really, really fun song that's actually going into the game right now. You'll hear it at launch. It's in the green room and in some of the marketing stuff we're doing right now. So there's that flag was everything to me. That's thank you, Rumbleshoot. Okay, I think we take some questions from here, right? Raz, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. If anybody has some questions in the chat right now, you can.
Or raise your hand if you is there hand raising? There's not hand raising.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I can enable it. I think you should be able to request to speak now. Yeah, I think that works. Maybe let's start with a question on the stage then. I'll invite
there will be a
Connor the
soundtrack
Guy to the stage.
To be clear on that, the music will be available.
Hello?
There you go.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
at school right now. I'm at lunch. Hello. I've been playing since the first trailer, and I've been loving the game. I've introduced a lot of my friends from school to it, and they really love it too. My question was, who do you guys main in the game? Tell us about that and why.
It's a great question. And I love that you're hustling at lunch doing this. Amazing. Yeah, it kind of changes for me. For a minute, it was the bounty hunter, but then I've been arguing with Matthew about his skills because I feel like he's broken right now, but not in a good way. And so now I've been changing over to playing Tango and actually Knives. I really like Knives right now because it's kind of fun to just sneak into the base and steal the flag when there's like 3 seconds left. And I like characters that you could cheese because I'm not great. So when you're not a great shooter, and this was why I argued with Mac so much about making this a MOBA, because Mac is better at shooters than me. And I was like, well, why don't we make it more of a MOBA, like overhead view with like Fog of War, because I really like League of Legends and like MOBA games and StarCraft and Warcraft and games like that. But I know that the right decision was to make it a third-person shooter. But anyway, I'm not really great at like click and shoot games. So I like to play characters that can be more of like a support role or shotguns because they have a large blast radius, but bounty hunter needs to be fixed. But yeah, that's my short answers to that.
The rest of my answer.
Matthew's so mad at me
right now. No, he's not. You already talked about 3 characters, so I don't need to say. I like those. I like Archer. I like Misako. I'm just really bad with her, but she's super fun. The dash is awesome. The heartbeat ability, the passive, super fun. Why don't we do a quick burst of a few small questions here? Who do you? What are some easier ones here? How long did it take the game to develop? We're now, 5 years in, maybe 4 or 5 years, but it started on a windy journey for us. We said we will release the soundtrack. Somebody asked about hidden messages. There's hidden messages everywhere. There's some people in our Discord who have started unraveling those. So feel free to join the Last Flag Discord and jump in on that. Esports, I'm going to just do a short answer here. The short answer is we really want our game to be what it is first, which is fun first, competitive second. Like Super Smash Brothers, like so many games we love, Team Fortress 2. Will there be competitive lanes for people to play? Sure, but we want those to develop naturally. We want to stay true to kind of serving what our game is first and foremost. Okay, so Raz, you want to bring somebody else up on stage maybe?
Yes, I'm inviting Nup.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, so I've only gotten to mess around with the game a little bit. I've been pretty busy, but my question was, what are your future plans for the game? Do you plan to partner with some larger organizations or to push it to get merch, like vinyl figures?
Cool.
Matthew, you want to talk about some future plans maybe? And I mean, Dan can sprinkle some on top.
Well, I can speak about the gameplay, but he was more asking about merch. And that's yours, so nice try.
I'll get there. I just thought you might want to talk about some of the other stuff in flight first.
For gameplay, we're going to continue supporting the game past launch in the ways that you might expect. So new maps. There's 2 maps at launch, a 3rd one coming right after, a 4th one in development. New heroes. We're already working on the next 2 heroes. We want to be careful. We don't want to have too many heroes in the game because that can be overwhelming. And then we're looking at other ways to make the game continue to stay fresh and be exciting with new game modes and other little things like that. Obviously, new cosmetics, coming out that you'll be able to earn and unlock and enjoy to make your characters look even more badass. So that's some of the things that we're planning already.
Yeah, and in terms of the rest of it, we're really trying to make a world that matters. Dan spent a lot of time on this world building. Matthew has too. We've all kind of contributed in some ways. But this whole story about this guy, Victor Fex, who creates this television show, and there's something a little bit sinister below the surface that you can kind of start to scratch at. And some of those clues to that story that you find hidden in the map, hidden in the codes and in the videos, get you a little bit ahead of the storyline. But we wanted a world that matters. And and that also means providing opportunities for people to kind of participate in that world. So we definitely are exploring a future with merch, other kind of transmedia things. We don't know yet in terms of a long-term partner. We've been really lucky to be able to launch a game as an indie studio because it means we could take creative risks. We've been able to kind of do things that larger studios can't do, even though we've had less resources. And that's a trade-off we like, but we might have partners in the future who help us to reach other people. And we do need Cashbot plushies. I think that's just kind of a given. I think we know that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Nub. Should we do one more, and then we'll get 3 questions from the people who sent in early?
Yeah. Invited honorable dummy. Yeah. Hi.
Hi. So I was curious, do you guys have any intentions of maybe expanding the game into other genres or even making like DLC or other games entirely using the studio?
Matthew, you want to start from like the internal perspective, and then I'll can start kind of studio perspective, or you want me to start? Either way is great.
You start.
Okay. So first and foremost, for us, it's a balance. When you create a world that people attach to, that's meaningful, and technology from that, the ability to kind of branch off from that and create more within that world is really exciting. But we also really don't want to like squeeze a lemon until it doesn't have any more juice, and I think that can happen sometimes with IP where people spend, they see something being successful and then they just juice it until there's nothing left. And we don't want to do that. I can tell you, Dan and I want to make more games with this team. We have an unbelievable team of developers. We all love each other very much. We enjoy working together. And to be able to continue to make games beyond this would be really exciting for us. And it just depends on how we do with the first one, if we can pull it off. But yeah, the short answer is TBD. We also would love to continue to prototype and try new games. Like Dan is constantly prototyping new game ideas. So that's hopefully a part of the future too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Raz, you want to give us a couple preceded questions from people who typed in stuff?
Somebody was asking if there's questions from that were sent in.
Yeah, were those through social media, I think, or something, right, Raz?
Yeah, exactly. We did have a few people ask questions on Instagram and everything. So let's see. Are you guys planning to share mod tools for Last Flag in the future so players can create their own custom ways to play the game from Kostian on Discord? So any more customization about the game, maybe more game modes also?
I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. So I'm watching Matthew's face carefully as I talk. But we designed purposefully to make customization easy. And we think it'd be really exciting to let players participate in helping us understand the best features of the game. So what form and shape that takes is TBD, but we embrace that mindset. Matthew, anything unfair there?
No, and it's actually like it's something you've mentioned from the very beginning. Like it's something you've always, wanted to aim towards. We're not there yet, but I think it's a good goal for us to have.
Okay. So another question from Instagram from the marvelous Mrs. Farina. Which character would survive outside the game in a novel, a film, a comic book? So anything to expand that universe, maybe.
I hope all the heroes could survive outside the game in their own universe. And if they can't, it means we probably didn't develop that hero sufficiently. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just going to write that's how we kind of thought of them, right? I mean, I really wanted to design characters that you had a really hard time kind of deciding which was your favorite, you want to play each character depending on your mood or like what the type of play style you want. But so much work and love went into these characters. I'm really grateful to have everybody putting their comments in that how much you like them. So it means a lot. I would love to see a comic book for each one of them, and one they all exist in the same universe.
And there is a story to all of them. They're all on the show for different reasons. And some of them are a little more surface level. Some of them are pretty deep, and some of them are sad. And so I think we could tackle this one question. Got a thumbs up on it too about the voice acting. It's a mix. If you are doing the audition match, you may notice the brother of Victor Fex, who coaches you. That voice may sound familiar to you. It's one of the people on the stage. I'm not going to say who it is. But there is everything from, for us, it was really important to have speakers speaking their native language. And so we record things in multiple languages sometimes. And so, for example, our Camilla Barbosa, she is our Arsenal character. She's voiced by Jay on our team, who lives in Brazil and speaks Brazilian Portuguese. And she also really exudes that energy of that character. So she was a perfect fit for voice acting. In some cases, like Julius, we went to a professional voice actor who's just a lovely, lovely human, who's been great to deal with. Same thing for Clay Stone, the announcer. So it's a mix of family, friends, people inside the team, professional actors. It's wherever we found the people who really embody the spirit of the character we're trying to do.
Another one? Okay, so from Marcelo Joao Pereira on Instagram, how important was player feedback during development, and did the community shape any major part of the final experience?
Matthew, this feels like a great question for you.
Very important, and it continues to be very important. So initially, the first players, they were the team. So we took feedback from our team, and then it grew, and we got other people from outside the team to start playing the game. And again, their feedback helped shape the game. But even today, we had a meeting today where we were talking about some of the feedback from some players and Dan, which we kind of got over the last couple of weeks and are going to be using to make some adjustments to the game. So we're always listening to feedback. Sometimes often it's about how a contestant feels. Sometimes it's about how your favorite main isn't strong enough because you're just bad at the game. We won't name names. But many times it's things like, oh, I didn't understand this mechanic, or oh, have you guys thought about this, or I wish this, right? And so we always listen to the feedback, and a lot of it actually makes it into the game. And for example, we've added our radar tower mechanics to help you find the flag without exactly telling you where the flag is. And that came from feedback from some of our players who were like, hey, I'm struggling to find the flag. I wish there was a way to help find the flag. So a lot of the really core elements of the game actually have come from feedback from our players. And yes, Masako and Julius and Rhodey are in line for getting some love over the next few days before before the game's release.
Our roadie actor is somebody some of you might know too, actually. I'll do a quick answer here for Nat, which is about the game industry getting more and more competitive, less small studios, India devs. Yeah, it's an interesting time. In some ways, the playing field is flattened, and that a lot of people can develop, especially in smaller indie studios. And there's always money for those AAA games. But that in between space, that AA kind of indie place, is a challenge right now. We've watched a lot of really, really great studios not survive. We don't really get caught up thinking about that. I think for us, our focus is, are we creating something that creatively inspires us, that we're proud of? Are we making something that represents the team's vision? And you hope it finds an audience. But we never try to work backwards from like what we think a market would want or not want, or this isn't a great industry to go into if you're just trying to make money. That's not what we're trying to do. This is us kind of living out a dream with people who inspire us every day.
There's a lot of love for the cash pots in the chat, and I want to make sure that everybody understands something. So is the cash bots, when they first went in, did not sound as cute, and I specifically asked that they sound cuter so that people would shoot them more. So you can all blame me.
Cashback cruelty, I see. All right, let's take a couple more.
Do
you want somebody else on stage, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. If
You guys
anybody
offended
wants
Dan
to
with
talk,
that cashback question, I think.
let's see.
Should we bring Shrimp up here?
Yeah, let's do it. Shrimp, you are requested to speak.
Maybe they got shy, but it was like one of those, you put your hand up
Otherwise-
and you kind of like,
there you go. Yeah.
Hey, Shrimp.
Hi.
What's up?
We can't hear you.
Oh, wait,
Sorry.
wait, we got you now.
Is it working?
Hi.
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, yeah, sorry, my
Yes.
Wi-Fi just it's kind of awful right now. I haven't really played the game as much as it has been released, the demo, pretty much because, my computer is kind of garbage. But anyway, hypothetically, if you guys were to ever collaborate with another video game or franchise, whatever, which one would you think would be more ideal with the type of game you guys have been working on?
I think it's a great question. I'll repeat the question for Dan as he just came back. Dan, the question was, if we were to collaborate with another franchise or another game, what type of game would it be? What would it be? My thoughts are, we always want to be true to the world we're in. Some games are a little more of like a blank page. Ours is like a specific color, right? It's like a very specific note. That world we're making, all those things matter. And so, I can't imagine it'd be very easy for us to do a collaboration with most other games. It would have to kind of fit and work within our universe and world first and foremost. And so I think we would kind of take that angle, which, is it the right time period? Is it the right vibe? Does it make sense for us before we would kind of dive into that?
Yeah, I think we always lean towards multiplayer. We do love multiplayer games just because we grew up in a family of a lot of kids and loved like LAN parties at the house, playing like trying to think of like some of the early games we played, like playing Warcraft on LAN is like maybe Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2 on LAN was like my favorite memories growing up. But then, once we got N64, it was like Super Smash Brother tournaments and 007, like slappers only in the archives. And I think a lot of our favorite memories are multiplayer, but that's not to say we wouldn't dive into making, some sort of single player game either. But like Max said, like, we have such a great team of so many. I think the strongest part of this team, and maybe Matthew could speak differently. I don't know how other studios work, but it's been cool to watch this studio work in a way where it's a very, like, we listen to everybody, and it's kind of like the best idea wins, and Matthew kind of leads the ship, and is you need a leader, but I think that having kind of a democratic way of like, even with skills, like when everybody was contributing ideas, and then like everybody, it's kind of like democracy in a way that has been really cool. And I think that when we create a game, it'll probably be whatever that next game is, it'll be like, let's keep iterating and thinking and prototyping until we have something that everybody at the studios to some degree is excited about. I think that, I don't know if that's how other studios work, but I have a feeling that we'll probably do a lot of that when we're prototyping and looking into whatever's next. It'll have to be something that everybody's feeling jazzed about to some degree.
Hey, Shrimp, appreciate it. Reminder for those who have joined in the last little bit, by the way, please wish list, join the beta game today, follow us on Steam. All those things matter. There's an important week for us as a studio. All right, what else can we answer?
Do we have a few more? Do we have time for a few more questions?
I think we've got until 1:30.
I know you guys
hard out at 1:30. We're going to be streaming today, and don't let Dan and I fool you. We can play nice on a stream like this, but it's all holds barred when we're going head to head later today, as you'll see. It's going to get dirty.
Okay,
I'm positive.
Just invited Rumble Shoot. There you go.
Hey guys.
Hi there.
We are playing after this.
What's up, Rumble?
First of all, gonna say it's been such a blast following along. Been playing the game for like, oh god, like, I don't know, 8 months now, or how long it has been, and it's just been such a pleasure being part of this as like a long time gamer. It's so fun watching this grow and
Thanks,
being a part of it. My question would be, since the game, in the universe, the game is built like a game show, are there any plans to, expand upon that game show theme for like, I don't know, having a stream channel set up that, has like set streaming times that just streams games with like commentary or whatever, like in a fun game show kind of way? Is there anything in the works?
Great idea.
That's a really, really great question, Rumble. I can tell you, and Brian has actually been so great at leading the charge on this. We are constantly looking for ways to lean in further on the television show aspect and what that means. We've been working on these, like, we'll call them audition tapes for some of the contestants right now, and some other things that will kind of introduce people a little more to the world. We have talked about some fun things we could do with streaming that's a little bit gamified. And we've already started work on some of them. I love your idea, though. It's not one I think that we have fully explored the way that you put it, in terms of, like having it feel like a game show when you're hosting the streams could be a lot of fun. So maybe we'll pick your brain later in the rehearsal channel and dig into that one a little more.
Hell yeah.
I love that. The back actually worked. Yes. It has a broken string, though. Sadly. Need to restring it. But actually, I don't really use this guitar very much. I use this acoustic guitar instead. This one is more for looks. It's an electric acoustic, so you can plug it in, but yeah.
All right. Well, Rumble, we'll see you back in the game, I'm sure. We'll be playing again before long.
Hopefully, man.
Appreciate you. Yeah, no, we will.
Appreciate you as well, man.
Okay, we'll see you.
Thank you. All right. Maybe let's have another question from social media. So this is a question for Dan from Imagine Dragons Brazil. Dan, I'm a huge fan of your work with Imagine Dragons, and I'd love to know what your biggest challenge was when participating in the development of a game. Is the process of creating a game very different from creating a song?
It's a good question. Yeah. I think I create in a very like hyper ADD way, where I really enjoy having an idea and then bringing it to fruition as quickly as possible. There's like that dopamine release of I wake up and I have a song in my head, and then I go to my studio, and as quickly as possible I'm kind of iterating. I'm trying to bring that sound to life, and then I get to listen to what was in my head. And that creation process is really, really exciting for me. So prototyping, like coding, building something from nothing as quickly as I can, I really enjoy. And I prototype a lot, and I've like made a bajillion different little games, just like I make a bajillion different little songs. I really enjoy that. But what's been difficult for me is creating a game actually is much more tedious and long. And if it was just me making it, it would never happen because I burn out so quickly on anything. Even when I'm prototyping something, once I've prototyped it, I'm already burnt out on it. And that's why we have a team of people who are really good at like follow through, seeing things through. Like Mac and I are a really great duo when we work on things because I can get really excited easy and I can create at like a hyper speed, hyper focus, but then I have to like Mac has to like lasso me again and bring me in and lasso me again. Like Mac's really good at seeing things through, is really good at like continuing on a course where I'll be walking down the path and be like, but there's a flower over here and I want to go see this flower and I want to go over here to look at this tree. Like I'm very bad at like arriving at, like if I went on a hike, I'd probably end up on like 10 different hikes on the way. So that has been really difficult for me. And this has been 5 years in the making. So there's been a lot of times where Mac is like continuing to see things through and then having to like reel me in. And like that's been our music career and that's been anything we do together. And that's been the biggest challenge for me, I think.
Awesome. And then since we are on the Imagine Dragons server, there's one more question I'd like to ask. Anything in the works, anything we can be excited for?
Yeah, well, I think all of you deserve to know much more than the rest of the world because you just sat through this long thing and some of you don't even care about video games. So I appreciate that. And so I will say, without saying too much, like I've been writing, I'm always writing. And, Loom came out many years ago. And a lot has happened in my life since Loom. And writing for me creating music is a journal for me. It always has been since I was 12. So there's a lot of new things that have happened in my life in the last couple of years, and I certainly have been writing through all of it. So I don't want to say much more than that, but I will say that there is a lot of things on the horizon and in the not too far distance, and I don't want to say soon because I always say soon, but no, I will say this: the next release from the band will be something new. It will not be an addendum to Mercury or Loom or anything like that. It'll be a whole new world, a whole new sound, a whole new thing, and soon is the word, I think, probably. So.
We'll say the
Awesome.
advanced stages.
Thank
We're in
you
the
so-
advanced stages.
Advanced stages.
Yeah, I think it's.
That's
Well, I
amazing
think
to
we're
hear.
about to wrap it
So
up.
it's
Go ahead, please. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
I was about to say, so yeah, no worries, but it's been an exciting day. There's also been exciting news for Last Flag today because you guys announced the release date for the game for PC. If you guys want to say anything about that.
Yeah, April 14th. We're going to release on PC. I know a lot of people are Xbox, PlayStation. That's coming very quickly afterwards. We're working on it already right now. And, I hope you'll stick with us. This demo, you only get to play one of the levels. There'll be 2 maps on launch, a 3rd map very, very quickly after that. And we're just really excited to take you guys on this journey with us. It's been really special for us. And hope you'll share with other people. I hope you'll join us in the other Discord too. But can't thank Raz enough for being such a kind host and bringing us in here. She already knows how we feel about her, but I like to say it publicly anyway because she is very much the best, and you guys know that too because you get to have her in this community all the time. And even though you're the most busy person on the planet, Raz, you still make time for us all, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, and come play Last Flag with
you
us
so
because we're about
much.
to jump on and play here in just a minute. And thank you, Raz. You've been a wonderful
Yeah,
host.
and thank you so much. And I also know I wanted to add there's a lot of people asking for console release. That's also coming in summer this year, as far as I heard. And also there's going to be a live stream of the 2 brothers playing again with and against 2 other brothers on live stream later in the Bro Down Showdown with Tyler 1 and E-Rob. So you guys don't want to miss it because you guys also mentioned that you guys are fighting a lot of times so you can have ultimate bragging rights for the guys who win. So excited for that one. So again,
Yeah, it'll be on
thank you
Twitch.
guys so much.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on twitch.tv/playlastflag. It starts at 2:00. We'll be joining them a little bit after 2. But we're going to be playing off and on all week. So if you're in a game and it looks like you're playing with me or Dan or both of us even, which is more likely, you probably are. So we'll see you in there. Please jump in and play. And thank you, Brian and Matthew, for being here and like weathering the storm of the Imagine Dragons Discord. Some tough questions today.
No. It's nothing of. I mean, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very fortunate and very thankful. And de rien à la France, for those of you there. It was very, very lovely to be here.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all the support.
Thank you,
Bye, guys.
Bye,
See you soon.
everybody.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. See you all.